Okay, so let's pick back up from here. So we've just taken John's gun and we're going to head out.
Look, before you go, I came
And he's
here
grabbing
with
us.
my wife and daughter on holiday 3 months ago, around the time this began. We got separated, but please, if you find them, keep them safe. Do what I couldn't.
So I'm not a fan of this bit of the scene because, as a lot of people have commented, my crying sounds a lot like laughing, which was not intentional, and it does kind of overload an emotional piece on the end of this scene when it really should have been worked into the scene. But you know, I'm happy with it overall. Let it be. So this is a picture that one of my friends took. I asked him for. Actually, he gave me a bunch of photos, and they weren't actually for the game, but he let me make them into various kind of poster formats and that kind of thing. And it was a nice little challenge to see what I could convert into art that looks like it should be art. And I think a lot of it looks pretty cool. We'll see in the ARC offices a little bit later some more examples of that. Thanks, John. So Chris and I did discuss this scene, and we did have the suggestion at one point where John would shoot himself at the end, but I'm really glad we decided against that because it's super dark. I really miss not having the flashlight at this point. I mean, even in Estranged Act 2 you have the flashlight, and I'm currently hammering F to try and put it on. I really find this this garden quite cozy. I like this little area, and the swing as well. Of course, we had to hook it up with the physics. I think I copied the physics entities used to hook this up from Half-Life 2 because Valve did it so well, and they swing exactly right. I just thought I'd take the values that they'd calculated. Okay, let's move on. Let's go out here. Feels a little bit desolate out here. Not sure I want to go much further. Let's head up here. Yeah, a lot of people were a little bit startled by this. I do like this though. I love playing with light and shadows, and this is a good example of this. Let's get some battery and a flashlight, finally. Excellent. This was a very early piece of art as well. I decided pretty early on this. This is our holiday house. And the kid goes into the treehouse. Yeah, ladders in Source I struggled with. See, this one kind of grabs you a little bit close. It's a bit difficult to get them right. So let's have over here. Yeah, this here is, I like this effect with the moths and the light. It's really cool. That here. I think this rock here is a displacement I made in Hammer, but it serves the purpose. Can we destroy these? Can't remember if I. Oh, you can. Probably you can get over still with the boxes. I think I thought about that. If you throw the boxes though, you're screwed. But you shouldn't do that. This little musical hit, I think, is something I made. There was some that I made using my keyboard. I can't play at all. Yeah, I think this was one of them because it's very simple. But Chris hooked me up with some different kind of note sounds, and I just kind of hit the keyboard in a way that sounded good, and that's what came out. Here's a classic "You cannot go here" game mechanic. But I hope that's explained in a way that makes sense. Let's hop across here. Don't want to drop into the water because it does drag you along. And here is a level transition. It was quite difficult in Source to get your level content lined up in a way that kind of let you do the level transitions. I never liked the idea of having this bit of geometry that's shared between both levels because it was a pain to manage. But when Valve actually updated it so you can have instances of levels, so actually the same geometry is shared. And that is a creepy sounding frog. I do like these lily pads on the top here. I mean, a lot of this is from CG Textures, or sorry, textures.com as it's now known, and yeah, a lot of this content, very high quality textures on that site. I do recommend it. Here's our little cabin. Let's go and explore it. It's the Red Ton Nature Reserve. I'm not going to try and do the. There's an achievement for getting all of these cans, but I'm not going to do that. Oops. Interesting. Yeah, this chair was one of the first and only things I've made on 3ds Max. I'm not very talented with 3ds Max either. Blender I'm more familiar with, but I'm not great with it. But this was my first model, and I managed to include it in Estranged, even though it's a little bit chunky and horrible. In quite a few places actually. So here is our first zombie encounter. There he is, running at me. Very terrifying, but one shot in the head. Guess he was making a call? Let's hop over here. There wasn't much build up there. I thought we had a musical cue at least, but we didn't. That was just kind of... He spawned and ran at us. It does catch a lot of people by surprise, but there's not much fanfare for that piece. Huh. This is some of Chris's work. Start of shift, arrival of mechanic Jared. Nice little detail. Turn that off. Because these lights here, these dynamic lights in Source are so expensive, I had to write a manager that enables these lights when you get close. So you can, if you look carefully, you can see them popping in and out. Very eerie music. I think this is a very atmospheric level. Very proud of this one. This is a piece of music by Chris as well that I really like. So they have a lot of spare levers here. I guess it breaks a lot. So I think that this will be a good point to leave it. So thank you for watching.